So I'm Gauthier, founder, CEO of startup Genome. We're the global leader in helping Series A, Series B companies, 5 to 20 million in revenue, B2B companies, and scaling into the global markets. So it's a program company, and then also advising national governments and big city governments like Seoul and Tokyo, Abu Dhabi are our clients on innovation policy. And the first thing I want to do with my panelists is to introduce yourself, your company, where are you from, and what markets are you growing into?
Hello everyone, my name is Rodrigo Tamellini. I'm co-founder and CEO of GamerSafer. GamerSafer is in this unique, amazing position of being between cybersecurity and gaming, two of gigantic markets. We basically develop solutions to combat crimes, frauds, and toxicity in online games. It's a B2B company focusing in the publisher marketing. And I'm Brazilian. I live in Silicon Valley for the past 9 years. And our product was designed to be global because our customers, our challenge, and our users are on a global basis. We are growing fast, yeah.
How fast are you growing?
Well, this year we are growing 7 to 8x, reaching several $1 million in revenue.
Great. Beth?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me here. I'm Beth Rogozinski. I'm the CEO of Oncoustics AI. We are an AI native company. And what Oncoustics does is we apply machine learning to the raw sound signal from ultrasound devices. As you can imagine, everything in the universe is going to have a different acoustic signature, and that's the same with the tissues in your body. So we use machine learning to measure these sound waves and how they bounce back. So this can work on any ultrasound device, but its unique value comes via these low-cost and inexpensive ultrasound devices that are coming onto market today. So via our approach, we can basically take any low-cost ultrasound device and turn it into a tissue characterization tool, which really, in essence, is a virtual biopsy.
Thank you, Beth. Where are you based, and what markets are you going into?
We are headquartered in Toronto, and we take advantage of the full opportunities that the Consul General was just talking about. We're a Mars company, Medical Advanced Research Center company, and have our headquarters there. We are actually already a global company. We're in clinics in China and clinics in India and Delhi. In Europe, we have pharma partnerships, and in the US.
How fast are you growing?
We're pre-revenue right now, but we have a number of pharma partnerships and clinical studies that are underway, and our first indications are going into US FDA this quarter.
Great. Ashish?
Hi, my name is Ashish Thakkar. I am the CEO of Y9 Bank. Y9 is a digital bank, US registered, but focused on emerging markets, particularly Africa. Africa has over 1.3 billion people, and 80 to 90% are unbanked and underbanked. So that's the market we're tapping into. And Y9 is focused on B2B lending, so we're focused on merchants and retailers and building an ecosystem fully regulated in each country, currently operating in Tanzania and getting our licenses in the next few markets. We're growing at about 3x per annum right now and turning profitable this year as well.
Congratulations. And if you've read the Global Startup Ecosystem reports, you would know that in fintech, Africa is one of the hottest markets right now, growing super rapidly. Dany.
Hi, I'm Dany Papineau. Is that too loud? I'm the founder of WeChalet, which is a next generation marketplace focused on optimizing nature travel. Kind of like Airbnb of chalet, people love to say. The outdoor travel is more of a legacy market. Quite often these places get underbooked on the current platforms that are more urban-centric or hotel-centric. No one's taken the lead to optimize, to build an outdoor brand focused on optimizing this segment of the market. So that's what we're working on. We've been growing about 300% a year steadily for the last 3 years, every year. And we're about to get about 10 million of booking volume this year, more than $1 million in revenue, and we're fully bootstrapped so far. Looking to raise a Series A by the fall, and we just got picked up. We're based in Montreal, in Quebec, and we got about 2,700 listings on WeChalet, and we just got picked up by the Hyper Growth Program of Investissement Québec, which is one of the programs that picked 5 startups with high potential of growth to become potentially unicorn status. So that's what brought us here.
So that's one of our programs at Startup Genome. So I can see the energy bubbling. It's like the entrepreneurs took the stage. Let's keep going with this energy. And the next discussion is, what was key in growing globally from where you are? What are the key elements? What made it pop for you?
Well, in my case, the mindset, right? My customers are global, my challenges are global. I had to design a product that was global first. Usually startups are very good on finding a good route in some place, and after prove product market fit scale this up. On our case, we have to develop a solution like that. So the first game in using our technology was a game called Minecraft. Not sure if you heard about it. So just the biggest game in the world. And of course, if I was just working in the US or Latin America or whatever, I wouldn't be a fit for them. So to be global, we have to think global, and that's how we start since day one.
Whoever wants to go next.
Yeah, I'm happy to jump in. So our approach at Oncoustics is a platform approach, and this approach can work on any anatomical area of the body that the ultrasound can image. But our initial markets are liver disease, and this is a global phenomena. Did you know that over 2 billion people globally are living with or at risk of liver disease? And as this disease is most often asymptomatic, most of them don't even know it. So, we were just compelled by the global unmet clinical need to begin to roll out to clinics globally. As I mentioned earlier, we're in China, India, Europe, and the US, North America. And so really that was the compelling factor. Our technology can leapfrog MR and biopsy, and so really we're looking to address this kind of global unmet clinical need and bring point of care diagnostics and treatment monitoring to all the places that need it.
So from Toronto, what helped you go to China and India so far away, and why? And but what was key to penetrating these countries? Or
that's an excellent question. I think one of the things that, and I actually live here in the Bay Area as well. I live in San Francisco, and one of the things that we have with Toronto and the Bay Area is that our team is multinational to begin with. And when you look at our team roster, we have people that are from these different areas, and via the network that we've built, via some of the accelerators like yours that we work with, we've been able to reach out at a very young and early stage in the company to be able to tap into those markets, to be able to work with clinics and clinicians really all around the world.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff. I think there's 3 things in our case, right? I think first thing is Africa, as we all know, is 54 different countries. We're a continent. We're very diverse and different. I'm a serial entrepreneur with 27 years experience in Africa, working across 26 countries. So I think understanding the local dynamics and the local markets, I think, was a big factor. The second thing is we go into use case financing. So every product we create is trying to make a difference to a real need. And every market's needs, every region within that market's needs are different. So how do you truly create something really localized and personalized that can scale has been the second key thing. And the third, I think it's thanks to my spiritual leader, Morai Bapu's teaching, which is truth, love, and compassion, right? I think the approach about actually making a difference and trying to make a difference to not only your bottom line and your top line, but also at the same time trying to create a positive social impact in these economies and for those societies.
And I see a thread here of networks, right? Having a network that you build from the start, and even before you start, makes you successful penetrating global markets or a whole continent across so many countries. And if you haven't built that market, if you don't invest in building that market, then it's really hard to go from a startup and then starting to develop your market slowly. Dany?
So we're talking about global scaling here, is that it? Yeah, markets that we see close home, New England in the States, a lot of Quebecers, Canadians love to go skiing there. So we want to grow WeChalet with people that are already using our product in Quebec. So those are our first markets we're looking at. Mexico is also on our target, Yucatan Peninsula, specifically around Cancun, Tulum, we love it. And there's already a lot of people from Europe, specifically from France, buying on WeChalet. They travel to Quebec and they buy their stay from France. So we see a way to enter Europe with those French people that love to move to Quebec from France. I think they're going to be our point of entry in Europe.
So following your customers globally, also their network and where do they go?
Yeah, there's, I think that's the first point of entry, but once you develop inventory, because it's a two-sided market at WeChalet, so we first need to develop inventory in a new territory. Those are API integrations we need to trigger to get professional property managers to list on our platform. But once you get the inventory online, we can start to send travelers, people that know us already, but once you're online, then it's game on to bring people from Google Ads, partnerships that we've been doing with airlines and stuff like that. So there's different ways to grow both segments, hosts and travelers internationally.
Anyone wants to build up on that? I mean, we're doing great on time. Maybe we'll have to speak slower so we can cover the whole time. Anyone wants to build up on that, like the customer network and following and your customer affinities and in markets?
I'll just say one thing about global growth, and I think that this is key for all startups. While we have a global vision, our key to success is we wake up every day and decide what not to do, right? It's all about focus when you're a founder and running a company, and I think we all know this, right? You're starting in Tanzania. We actually, even as a Canadian company, are starting US FDA first. So while we have a global footprint today where we're reaching out to these markets, we also have to be heads down and focus. So I think both of those things are an important dynamic that we have to juggle as CEOs.
So did you go to India or China because it was easier to enter at the beginning? You didn't need a long approval process to prove the technology on volumes of customers, and then while the FDA was following its longer process of approval?
So in India and China, there's just volumes of patients that need this exam, and it was much easier for us. We're an AI first company, and it was much easier for us to gather the data and the volumes. There are 300 million people in China with liver disease, and the hospitals there, one of the hospitals that we're currently working with will see 400 people a week with one specific type of liver disease. In Delhi, they do 3,000 liver biopsies a year. They do 15,000 fiber scans a year. It's the world's biggest liver and biliary center for study and excellence. And you just can't get those kind of volumes elsewhere, right? And as an AI company, it's all about the data. So it really was contingent to gather this data to have that global footprint. But from a regulatory perspective, we're focusing initially on the US, and then we'll reach out beyond that and take those, that clearance and base future clearances on that.
It's a good transition to the next question, which is about how is AI impacting your markets, your industry, right, your product category, and how are you taking advantage of it?
Well, let me get started. Today, GamerSafer protects 25 million players in 100 countries. Basically, what we are fighting, crimes, fraud, and toxicity, what it means bullying, harassment, hate speech, sexism, racism, identity theft, scams, bots, fake accounts, cheaters, and even more severe things like child exploitation and terrorism. How can you handle that without AI? I think that's pretty much the big question. So we use computer vision and we use AI to really identify patterns and making sure that we are basically, the way that we are really leveraging AI is how can we gather intelligence from independent silos and connect them in a network of intelligence. So every single gaming community for us is a small silo that was working separately, and our technology basically bring them all together and bring this collective data putting the intelligence on top of that to predict and prevent all those problems that I described before. So yes, grow fast is hard, and manage all this level of data in severe cases is definitely a AI-assisted need. And of course, the way that we build the technology throughout the time, making sure that we are not coming up with any model that is biased, right? So understanding the nuances of all those communities, all those challenges and those games, and their audiences, and what kind of interactions, authentic interactions they really have are important. So whenever we deploy a model on top of that, we are not compromising the experience, we are just making that safe.
Okay. Yeah, so even though you work globally, you have regional kind of models that adapt.
Definitely.
And
this
based
is
on the game,
community
also.
by community, right? So today we protect over 15,000 communities.
And do you feel like you were the first mover in using AI in cybersecurity for gaming, or
I think inside gaming, definitely. I think it's funny, right? Whenever we see B2B, AI is already there for quite a lot of time. I think the B2C is when people really realize this is ubiquitous somehow. But gaming is like we have 3.5 billion gamers in the world, right? It's huge. So yeah, cybersecurity in online space is important. Game is no different, and AI is the game changer for sure.
Oncoustics couldn't exist without AI. We are an AI first and AI primary company. The amount of data that is in the radio frequency signal from an ultrasound device would be untenable to understand by anything outside of an AI system. It just would be impossible. In fact, we're actually a prototypical exponential technology company. We couldn't have existed a decade ago, because not only are we leveraging the AI, and we've got deep learning and machine learning experts in our company, but we are leveraging the rise of these low-cost ultrasound devices. This is really what's powering our business model. We leverage the rise of affordable cloud, and as expensive as it is, it's still much more affordable than building your own server farm and and serving it up yourselves. We also leverage, and we do mobile net, where this device is a wireless device and it connects to a smartphone. So the compute power that you have on one of these devices is something that a decade ago wouldn't have existed. So really, again, deep tech, exponential tech that really gave rise to our company, and we wouldn't exist at all without it.
So as we all know, banking requires, decisioning becomes the key factor. And in order to decision, especially as a digital bank, you need a lot of data. So we gather data from telecom operators, we gather our own data, we gather data from credit reference bureaus locally and other sources of data. But then we have an AI credit scoring and decisioning engine, which scores that data, but then instantly decisions whether or not somebody qualifies for a loan. We also use a lot of AI for fraud prevention, and we're now plugging it in for customer engagement and retention and predicting trends of what's going to happen. So without AI, frankly, we would not be able to scale like our existing 220,000 customers. Doing credit scoring and decisioning in a live basis is virtually impossible without it.
And are you rebuilding a new model every country you're going? So you need a lot of data first before you trust the decision, and how do you do that? Absolutely.
So we have to, and I think, it was touched on, Jensen touched on it this morning in his speech about how data is a very sovereign thing. It's a very local thing. So actually ensuring that data is local and it's fully complied with, and we comply with all GDPR compliance, even though it's not a requirement in our markets, but looking at scaling up, looking at our international shareholder base and everything else, we've put that necessary governance and compliance in place. So factoring that, the engine remains the same, but the sources of data varies country to country. And as you know, in our markets, there's sources of data from the mobile network operator, but the same mobile network operator also has mobile money platforms. So we leverage off their network, their mobile money platform, and then the multiple players in that market, right? So there's a lot of sources of data where we have servers in each place, but then that becomes scalable for that population, which is large.
Wow. Dany?
Well, WeChalet is kind of three things. It's a tech company, which is the base of everything we do, but we're turning into a fintech because we manage all payment flows from all users. We need to manage taxes from all levels of government, municipal, provincial, federal. And we're also a brand. We're a marketing company. So we started using AI for fraud detection as well, because this is a growing problem. The more you grow as a company, the more you get, you become a target of these fraudulent people, unfortunately. We started to use AI this year with photo optimization. Specifically on WeChalet, people love to book. They love to see a listing where you have beautiful landscapes outside, but unfortunately, sometimes the photographer takes the pictures on a rainy day or it's a dark sky. So we started to put like beautiful blue skies and pump up the colors of the interior and outside of the listings, and we start to see way more repeat business on all these listings. On the other side also, WeChalet, we have our own customer service, but the hosts need to do also their own customer service to the traveler, and we have no control on that. So this is where we just hired our first AI IT guy, 2 weeks ago, and we want to start to get into more like optimization of communications, both for the platform and for the hosts, to remove redundant communications and get AI to kind of a ChatGPT-ish, bot that could start answering a lot of the common questions that you do always, redundantly. So, but there's way more. We have a checklist of stuff, but yeah, it's going to be at the core of it.
So you can train it on your interaction with customers, and you pass on that engine to your.
Yeah, there's a lot. Yeah, and quite often, in a listing, it's always like the same questions. It's like, do you have a coffee machine? what's the parking? So you've got database of answers that you have, but now it could be a bot that serves them. And right now WeChalet is all in French and English, but we can start also add so many more languages just with a bot like that. And we see ways of even like optimizing listings, have different versions of the listing that AI would create based on what the travelers is searching. Quite often people search specifically for nature travel. They want a spa or they want a ski in, ski out. Well, we could automatically modify the title of the listing, the description based on what you're searching, to tailor the listing, even the order of photos based on what you want to see and what you're searching. Because quite often there's 50,000 photos in a listing, all disorganized, so we could reorganize. AI could totally like do that for us. So this is where we're starting to dig right now with a new hire. Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see the conversions on that.
So what do they see the first time they arrive on the site that's most likely to pique their interest?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what you want, right? Yeah.
So I want to ask you, the whole group, what is possible? What are you going to do with AI next year that you see is possible now that you couldn't think was possible a year or two ago? What's the big next step?
Well, inside gaming specifically, we are very close to all these trust and safety initiatives. User-generated content and AI-assisted generated content is popping up inside many platforms. So on the trust and safety side of things, we believe there is a layer of technology that we can provide in order to make sure that every single content that created by AI or by users with AI assisted are compliant with the platform's rules and terms of service. So there is definitely this component of content creation that AI brings to the table. And unfortunately, we saw several cases that this was used by bad actors. So there is this component of making sure that whatever comes inside gaming through AI is also safe.
So for us, we tap into an untapped data set, right? We capture and interrogate the raw sound signal, which is 99.9% of the time thrown away. And that's a huge promise of AI, to be able to tap into these untapped data sets that human beings couldn't be able to understand. And I think that the promise for us moving forward, of course, in the next few years is to expand to these other anatomical areas. But going beyond that, I think it's recognizing recognizing that there's more data out there in the world that human beings cannot begin to decipher, that AI can actually work with us to decipher. So in the same way that we're using these raw sound waves, there's actually channel features, there's Doppler in the ultrasound that we will be able to mine to be able to do additional disease detection in the future. And I think that it's really these untapped data sets that are going to be fundamentally innovative in healthcare, in our applications of AI in healthcare.
So basically detecting patterns that we didn't know existed.
And things that go beyond the spectrum of what human beings can see, right? So human beings, the visible light spectrum is like 1 iota compared to, when you get into the ultraviolet and infrared. And it's the same with what we can hear, right? We can't even hear the tones that a dog can hear. And yet we can put an AI system that can actually both, do the sensing of these fields of energy, of these data sets that, we just couldn't make sense of as humans. So I really see AI as not like replacing humans, and there's a lot of debate around that. We're going to replace doctors. I say, let's not replace the doctors. There's not enough of them to begin with. We don't disintermediate the clinicians. We actually empower them, and we empower the patients. And I think that this is really where AI needs to aim, and where it is going to best serve humanity.
So I think, it's improving and strengthening the scoring and decisioning constantly. But at the same time, I think the ability to utilize it to cross-sell, upsell, the customer engagement and retention, I think that's going to be the next big thing for us in terms of really focusing on that and seeing how we can leverage that part.
I think that it's going to allow us to scale up with a way smaller team that we would have needed like 10 years ago, while potentially giving even a way better customer service to both sides of the market, hosts and guests, because in every transaction in WeChalet, there's 3 parties involved. There's WeChalet, there's the hosts, there's the guests. So I think, specifically in customer service, it will allow us, a smaller team of WeChalet, to serve way more people and help hosts give better service to travelers, while WeChalet giving better service to all the users. So I'm excited about that. Yeah.
You could even have a customer bot where the bot attached to the customer knows what question the customer will ask, and it's being asked before.
Everything is possible. With data, we can train a lot of for sure we can train that.
Well, thank you so much for our startups. Thank you for coming here, and thank you for all your insights.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.